I was changing the battery in my smoke detector when I found a camera hidden inside it. It looked professionally installed, wireless, and aimed straight at my bedroom hallway. At 62 years old, living alone on my ranch outside Casper, Wyoming, why would anyone need to watch me sleep? To figure out the truth, I left that camera exactly where I found it. I didn't say a word to anyone. I just began paying closer attention. 3 days later, my son asked me a question he could not have known to ask unless he had been watching. That was the moment everything I believed about my family started to fall apart. My name is Howard Palmer. Before I explain what happened next, I need you to understand something. I spent 28 years working as an FBI financial crimes agent. I have seen fraud in almost every form you can imagine. Embezzlement schemes, identity theft networks, money laundering operations that would make your head spin. I thought I understood what betrayal looked like. I was mistaken. The Saturday morning battery check was a habit my late wife Catherine started 25 years ago. Every 6 months, without fail, change the smoke detector batteries, test the carbon monoxide alarms, check the fire extinguisher. She has been gone for 4 years now, but I kept the routine going. It felt like holding on to a small part of her. I was standing on my stepladder in the upstairs hallway, unscrewing the smoke detector cover, when I noticed something was off. The weight felt wrong, too heavy for just a 9-volt battery and some simple wiring. I pulled the entire unit down and looked inside. There it was. A tiny black cylinder no bigger than my thumb sitting next to the battery compartment. A lens. A camera lens pointed through a small hole that had been drilled into the plastic casing. I stood there on that ladder for a full minute, barely breathing. This wasn't some cheap gadget from Walmart. This was professional, expensive, the kind of thing that costs real money and takes real skill to install. Someone had been watching me inside my own home. The home Catherine and I built together in 1989. The ranch my father left me. The land my grandfather had cleared back in 1947. I climbed down slowly and sat at my kitchen table, the smoke detector sitting in front of me like evidence in a crime scene. Because that's exactly what it was. I forced myself to think clearly. Who had access? Who had the chance to do this? My neighbor Earl Thompson had a key for emergencies. But Earl was 71 years old and could barely work his cell phone. He was not installing hidden surveillance equipment. The furnace technician had come by in October for the yearly inspection, but he had been in my sight the whole time and never went upstairs. And then there was my son, Travis. He had been stopping by every Sunday for the last 4 months, ever since he moved back to Wyoming from Denver. He said he wanted to help around the ranch. Said he was worried about me living alone at my age. Travis was 41 now, married to Nicole, a corporate attorney. They had been struggling with some business project in Denver, real estate development that was not working out the way they had hoped. Travis had been in every room of this house multiple times. Alone. I leaned back in my chair and rubbed my eyes. No, that was ridiculous. Travis was my son, my only child. He would not spy on his own father. But even as I thought that, another part of my mind started connecting details. Travis asking about my medications last week. Travis wanting to know the name of my doctor. Travis asking if I had thought about what would happen to the ranch when I was gone. I told him not to worry about it. Told him everything was already arranged in my will. He smiled and changed the topic. But something had passed over his face. Just for a second. The FBI agent in me knew something was not right. The father in me did not want to believe it. I made a decision right then. I would not confront him. I would not remove the camera. I would do what I had done for nearly 3 decades whenever something felt wrong in a case. I would investigate, collect evidence, follow the money, and find the truth. I put the smoke detector back exactly where it had been, camera and all. Let them watch. Let them believe I had not noticed. Howard, I believe everything you are telling me. But without solid evidence linking Travis to those transfers, we need to be careful. It could technically be identity theft by someone else. The cameras are worrying, but if Travis has access to your home with your permission, it becomes complicated legally. I understood. I had been on the other side of this conversation many times. People who were sure they knew who had wronged them. But certainty is not the same as proof. "What do you suggest?" I asked. He gave me the name of a private investigator in Cheyenne, a woman named Diane Fletcher who specialized in elder financial abuse cases. Carl said she was thorough, careful, and knew how to build cases that prosecutors could actually use. "Document everything," Carl said. "Take photos of those cameras. Save every bank statement. Write down every conversation with Travis, every time he visits, every question he asks. And Howard, be careful. If Travis is doing what you think he is doing, these situations usually get worse. When they realize you are catching on, they can become desperate." I nodded slowly, taking that in. I had spent my career warning others about this exact kind of danger. Now I was the one living inside it. And I knew one thing for certain. I was going to see this through to the end, no matter what it cost. The word escalate stayed in my mind the whole way home. It kept repeating like a quiet warning I couldn't ignore. The next morning, I called Diane Fletcher from a payphone outside a gas station. Old habits don't go away easily. If Travis somehow had access to my phone records, I didn't want him seeing calls to a private investigator. We met later that same day at a coffee shop in Laramie, far enough from Casper that no one would recognize me or ask questions. Diane was in her mid-50s, with sharp eyes and the kind of direct attitude I respected right away. No nonsense, no fake sympathy, just straight business. She had worked as a forensic investigator with the Colorado Securities Commission for 15 years before going private, so she understood financial crime deeply. I told her everything, every detail I could remember. She didn't interrupt even once. She just wrote things down in a small leather notebook, her pen moving quickly and neatly across the pages. When I finished, she took a sip of her coffee and nodded slowly. She said it matched a pattern she had seen before. Adult children who feel like they deserve their parents' money and property. They begin with watching routines and learning habits, trying to get access to personal information like bank passwords, PIN numbers, and answers to security questions. Then they move into financial abuse, wire transfers, fake checks, stolen credit cards. And the final step is usually gaining legal control. I asked her what she meant by legal control, even though I already had an idea. She explained it clearly. Power of attorney, guardianship, having someone declared mentally unfit. Once they get that, they can sell property, empty accounts, and even decide where that person lives. They can put them into a care facility, and it is all completely legal if a doctor signs the papers. Hearing that made my blood run cold. Travis had asked about my doctor just 2 weeks earlier. He asked if I was sleeping well, if I ever felt confused or forgetful. At the time, I thought it was normal concern from a son about his aging father. Now I understood it was something else. It was preparation, building a story that I was losing control, that I needed someone else to handle my life. I asked her how I could stop it. She told me the first step was collecting evidence. She said she could trace the wire transfers, and that Palmer Holdings sounded like a shell company. If it was, there would be records somewhere. Someone had to register it, open accounts, and move money through it. Then we needed to document everything about the cameras, serial numbers, models, anything we could find. After that, we had to figure out who else might be involved. Maybe Travis's wife, maybe business partners, anyone who could gain something from this. She paused and looked closely at me. She warned me that if Travis was really behind all this, confronting him could be dangerous. She had seen cases where things turned violent when the person being targeted realized what was happening. Family situations like this could get ugly very fast. I told her I wasn't going anywhere. This was my home, my land. 3 generations of my family had worked that ranch. I wasn't going to let anyone take it, not even my own son. She nodded slowly and said we had to act quickly and carefully. Then she asked if I could play a role. She wanted me to act confused and forgetful, exactly how Travis wanted me to appear. I smiled and told her I had spent 28 years questioning white-collar criminals. I could play whatever role she needed. Over the next 2 weeks, Diane worked on the financial side, while I played the part of an unaware old man. I walked slower, shuffled my feet, repeated things during phone calls, and asked Travis the same questions again when he visited on Sundays. He believed it. I could see it clearly in his eyes. That small flash of satisfaction each time I acted weaker than before. On the second Sunday, I prepared everything carefully. I cooked pot roast using Catherine's recipe. Travis arrived at noon with Nicole. She barely looked at me and went straight to the kitchen like she owned the place. Travis kissed my cheek and said I looked tired. He asked if I was sleeping okay. I told him I was fine, just getting old. Then he asked if I was taking my medications. I asked him which medications, even though I knew I wasn't taking anything except a daily aspirin. He said my blood pressure pills, the ones in the blue bottle. I told him I didn't have any. He gave me a sad smile, the kind you give to someone who is confused. He said the doctor had prescribed them last month and that we had gone to the appointment together. That never happened, but he wanted me to believe it did. He was trying to make me doubt my own memory. They sent me home with instructions to act normal. Don't change anything. Don't let on that something was wrong. If Travis called, answer like everything was fine. If he came by, play the confused old man one more time. I drove back to the ranch as the sun went down over the prairie. The fields were still brown from winter, but here and there I could see small hints of green. Spring was coming. New life. Things moving forward no matter what had happened. When I got home, Travis was already there. "Where have you been?" he said, his face set with concern. "I've been calling all afternoon. Your phone went straight to voicemail." "I went for a drive," I said. "Battery died, I guess. Just felt like seeing the countryside." "You can't just disappear like that. I was worried sick. What if something had happened? What if you got confused and drove off the road?" "I'm 62, not 92, I said. "I can go for a drive if I want." His eyes tightened for a second. I saw something cold there. Something calculating. Something I had never noticed before. Or maybe never wanted to see. "Of course you can," he said, softening his voice. "I just worry, Dad. You've seemed so tired lately. So confused. I talked to Nicole and we think it's time you got some help." "I don't need help, Travis." "Just hear me out," he said. "There's a doctor in Cheyenne I want you to see. Just a checkup, making sure everything is working like it should. Your memory, your thinking, all of it." "What kind of doctor?" The evidence was too clear. Travis received 42 months in federal prison. Nicole was disbarred and sentenced to 18 months. Their house was taken to help pay restitution. On the day of sentencing, Travis asked to speak to me. The marshal said it was my choice. I said no. 6 months later, I got a letter at the ranch. Prison paper. Travis's handwriting, smaller and neater than I remembered. "Dad, I'm sorry. I know that may not mean much now, but I am. I made terrible choices. I let money and pressure turn me into someone I don't recognize. I don't expect forgiveness. But if you could visit, I'd like to explain. I want you to understand." I sat at my kitchen table for a long time holding that letter. Then I took out a piece of paper and wrote one line. "The door isn't locked forever, but you have to earn it back." I mailed it the next day. I never heard from him again. My grandson Lucas came to visit last month. He's 21 now, finishing his degree at the University of Wyoming. Environmental science. He wants to work for the Forest Service. He asked about his father. I told him the truth, that Travis made bad choices, and those choices had consequences, that none of it was Lucas's fault. "Grandpa," he said as we walked slowly through the fields, "what's going to happen to all of this?" I told him the truth, that I had updated my will, that the ranch would pass to him when I was gone, kept in trust until he turned 30, that I had arranged money for his education and for his future life. He started crying, held me tight. "I won't let you down." "I know you won't," I said. Because he had Catherine's eyes. The same quiet strength. The same clear sense of what is right and what is wrong. Looking back now, I understand just how close I came to losing everything. If I hadn't noticed that camera, if I hadn't listened to my instincts, if I had believed what Travis wanted me to believe, I would be in a care home right now, drugged, powerless, watching strangers sell off everything that 3 generations of my family had built with their hands. It happens more often than people think. Diane told me she deals with dozens of cases like mine every single year. Most of them never even get reported. The victims feel too ashamed, too confused, too afraid to speak up. If something feels off in your family, trust that feeling. Write everything down. Keep records. Tell someone you trust. Get help before it's too late. I learned something the hard way. Love is not an excuse to take advantage of someone. Blood is not permission to steal. And getting older does not make us weak unless we allow it to. I am 62 years old, still living on my ranch, still replacing those smoke detector batteries every 6 months, just like Catherine always reminded me to do. The cameras are gone now. The fake company has been shut down. My bank accounts are protected. Every morning I walk through my land and thank God for another day on soil my family has worked for 3 generations. Some wounds never fully heal. But I am still here. Still standing. Still pushing forward. And that has to mean something. The hardest truth I learned is this. Sometimes protecting your family means protecting yourself from your own family. If my story can help even one person avoid what I went through, then telling it was worth it. They made it look like I was confused, like I was forgetting things. Every time I couldn't remember a small detail, they would exchange looks, like they were building a case right in front of me. They pointed at the couch where I sat every evening. 4 cameras in total, 1 in my bedroom, hidden, watching, recording everything. Palmer and Nicole Palmer, my own son and daughter-in-law. I had expected it in a way, but seeing the truth laid out still felt like a punch I didn't see coming. Catherine would have never believed this. In her life, she trusted family above everything else. When cancer came for her, she fought it every single day for 2 long years. She never gave up. And I kept thinking, if she were here, none of this would have happened. Or maybe it still would have, and it would have broken her heart. There were documents. A draft purchase agreement with my signature forged on it. Phone records showing calls I never made. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Diane said they had enough to request arrest warrants. "We'd like to bring them in today," she told me. There had been a call that morning to a Dr. Brennan in Cheyenne. Travis had scheduled an appointment, trying to build a timeline. "They know something isn't right," Diane said. "Maybe you didn't act exactly how they expected. If they get a doctor to confirm reduced mental capacity before we move in, it could make things more complicated," she explained. That was all I needed to hear. When I got back to the ranch, Travis's truck was already in the driveway. He was inside the kitchen, pacing back and forth like he was waiting for something to happen. "Dad?" he said when he saw me. His voice sounded tight, nervous. "Are you sure about that?" he asked, stepping a little closer. "Dad, I've been meaning to talk to you about something." He hesitated, like he was choosing his words carefully, like he was trying to stay in control of the story. "You sure about this?" "I need to see it," I said. "I need to know."